All right, what's up, guys? VV Ulfric back again with this time with a little bit of a different kind of video than what we've been doing. You know, take a little break from One Piece content and just kind of look at a new game, or a new game coming out, I should say. This game is called Lorcana. It is by Disney, and I think it could be a decent game. Now, before anyone gets concerned, no, I'm not giving up on One Piece or anything. This is just another card game I want to look at. I'm a TCG, CCG player, trading card game, collector card game player. That's what that's what those two acronyms were. And I just love card games. So I like to, even if I'm not going to play a card game, I'm at least going to look into it and check it out. I was like that with Pokemon years and years ago. I was like that with Yu-Gi-Oh! Years and years ago. Getting back into card games recently, I looked at everything that was out there. Now I did, I'll have to do an entire video on like my top 5 favorite card games or anything, because One Piece is very high on my list. I like the way it's made. I like the flow. So don't be concerned. I'm not like ditching One Piece for this game. So let's go ahead and get into this. Disney Lorcana trading card game. Got some cool looking symbols at the top left. I'm starting all the way at the top left here, guys. I'm even going to zoom in. It says a quick start rules. As an Illumineer in the wondrous realm of Lorcana, you'll wield magical ink to summon new versions of Disney characters and items, which are called glimmers, okay? These glimmers, some familiar, some fantastic, will help you as you race across Lorcana to find and collect missing pieces of lore. Endless quests await. Okay, don't worry, we're not going to read every single thing here. If you want to read any of this, go ahead and, pause the video and read each one. I am going to read a few things here and there, though. Let me read this about the game. In this game, you race to locate pieces of lore scattered across Lorcana and collect them for safekeeping. Summon glimmers of Disney characters and items along the way, to help with quests, hinder your opponents, and challenge opposing characters. With the right strategy and a bit of luck, you can preserve your collected lore against future threats. Okay, very cool. And they got a little one of those little scan codes here if you want to check it out. Winning. I do want to read this. Your goal is to be the first player to gain 20 or more lore. Some card abilities give you lore, but the most common way to gain it is by playing characters and sending them on quests. Okay, so just taking a look at this. Let me start up here. The cards. It looks like there's 3 types. Your Lorcana deck can have a mix of 3 types of cards: characters, actions, and items. Speaking of this, let me pause myself for a second here. I might have to do a how to play this game and on One Piece. I like having tutorial videos, like a learn to play, how to play type of content. So I'll probably do that for a few games. Okay, so let's keep going. In this game, there's 3 card types. You got the characters over here on the left. We've got Cruella de Vil. Then we have items here in the middle, this Dingle Hopper. And then actions, Dragonfire. Okay. We're not going to read any of this stuff yet. I am going to go over some cards later in another video, and then we'll kind of go over more of it. And then there are songs, though. I will talk about this real quick. Songs are a type of action. Remember, there are actions right here with the Dragonfire breath, but then there are songs, which are a type of action, and you can play one just like any other action by paying its cost and resolving its effect. But that's not your only option. Some characters can sing the song for you, so you don't have to play the ink. Okay, and notice on this card what it says. If you can read it, it says a character with cost 2 or more can, looks like, tap to sing this song for free. And this card puts the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. Okay, terms you might not know yet. Let's try and see if we can figure out what they all are. Okay, let's go to the parts of a card. This is always real important. Okay, we're just going to go straight down here. The cost right here is 4. Inkwell icon. Cards with this specific icon around the cost hexagon can be put into your inkwell to use as ink. Okay, so in other words, let me go up here and see if... Okay, yeah, perfect. You see Dragonfire, the card on the top right here. It doesn't have that special little flower around the cost like these other ones do. And that is an inkwell icon, apparently. If it doesn't have that, you can't play it as a source of mana or a source of a resource, right? So let's see what else. Name, right there. Of course, we know what that is. Classification, okay. The classification here, Dreamborn Sorcerer. Categories sometimes referenced in the card rules, such as broom in this example. Okay. I guess there's like certain things that target. Yeah, see this one, Animate Broom, says you may pay one of these resources, I guess, less to play broom characters. Broom characters are a classification. Okay, ink. This is the ink key, right? This is what kind of card it is. Is it a red card, a purple card, a black card, right? Or a silver card in this case. And then abilities and effects. The card's special rules. On actions, these are called effects. On characters and items, most abilities have a story-based name. Especially common abilities instead use bolded keywords. So like Rush here, this character can challenge the turn they are played. Okay. On the right here, we got Strength here, the 3, and Willpower, the 4. So this is like your attack and defense, basically. How much damage the character deals, how much damage it takes to banish the character from play. So I guess banish is their term for KO or to knock out. And then the lore value. Here we go. How much lore you gain when the character quests. All right. What is questing, though? How does a character quest? Right. And I don't see it on here. Maybe it's on the next page. But the way a character quests in this game is they turn sideways, like they tap. Or in other words, they exert in this game. Okay. So setting up, each player needs their own deck. You'll also need damage counters and a way to track how much lore you have. Both come with your starter decks. Okay, shuffle your deck, set your lore tracker to 0, draw 7 cards for your starting hand. So that's a nice, that's a nice amount. You can look at the cards in your hand, but not anyone else's hand. Alter your starting hand if you choose. See below. Skip this step in your first game. Determine the first player by flipping a coin, rolling a die, or so on. Okay, altering your starting hand. Before the game begins, each player can alter their starting hand one time, so a mulligan rule, right? Beginning with the first player. Usually a player does this if they don't have very many cards with inkwell icons, right? Because remember, you play those once a turn. Okay, well, we haven't got to that part yet, but you can play those once a turn to basically put down as a mana or a Dawn card, if you're playing One Piece. Inkwell icon on them, or if too many other cards have a high cost. To do this, put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck without revealing them, then draw cards until your hand has 7 cards again, and then reshuffle your deck. So there's no real downside to altering your hand. You pretty much always want to do it unless you get the perfect pull. And now you can only do that once, right? But still, in the ink key here, I really like this. Amber, Amethyst, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, and Steel. That's a really cool idea. Okay, excuse me. So let me go ahead and hop over to the next one here. Got to kind of zoom in on this one. This one's not as good quality for some reason. We're not going to read all this, don't worry. But I do want to look at a few key things here. Your beginning phase, main phase, this is very straightforward, right? The beginning phase is ready, set, draw. That's the same as most games, right? Untap, upkeep, draw. That's typically how things go, right? That's how it is in Magic the Gathering. That's how it is in every game that I've played. You untap your cards, you do whatever kind of upkeep or beginning of turn actions, and then you draw your card, right? That's just how it goes. It looks like they have the same information over here on the right where it says turn order at a glance. Yeah, ready all your cards, set, start of turn effects happen, and draw a card. Skip on your first turn, of course. Main phase. Okay, it looks like choose as many as you would like. So once a turn, you would add a card to your inkwell. Okay. Play a card. Now, you can do that as many times as you can afford to play a card, right? But you can only, once a turn, adding a card to your inkwell, you can only do that once a turn, adding a card. Main phase, though, then you can play a card, activate an item, play a character ability that doesn't require... I can't see that symbol. I'm not sure what that symbol is. With a character that was in play during the set step, they can quest or challenge an exerted character, or use an ability that requires... Oh, I think it's a tap. It's a tap action, exert in this game. So up here you can see... I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. What are ready and exerted cards? Some game rules and card effects require you to exert or tap a card in play. To exert, just turn it sideways. Once a card is exerted, you can't exert it again until it's been readied by a game rule or card effect. To ready a card, simply turn it back upright. Remember to ready all your exerted cards at the beginning of your turn. Obviously, right? Your inkwell. Okay, we kind of talked about that a little bit. So playing a card just means taking it from your hand and putting it face up on the table. Each card has an ink cost in a hexagon in the upper left corner. To play the card, you must exert that many cards in your inkwell. And remember, you're playing inkwell face down for cards that have that special symbol. Remember the, let me get back over to here. The symbol was down here, I think. Yeah, this little inkwell symbol. It's basically just a thicker hexagon. Or it's like a frame for the hexagon where the cost is. You would play one face down for a mana, for a resource. We're not going to read this multiplayer and building a deck. That's something, if you want to read it, go ahead and pause and check it out. This is good information. Your deck must have at least 60 cards in it. Your deck can't contain more than 4 copies, so that's good to know, of any single card, so 4 card limit. And your deck can only contain cards from 1 or 2 ink colors, like inks, right? And remember the inks, it was those 6 symbols we looked at: sapphire, ruby. Okay, yeah. Damage. Characters damage each other in challenges, and some card effects deal damage as well. Whatever the source, damage counters stay on a character until an effect removes them or the character is banished, like it dies, right? A character is banished when they have damage counters on them that reach or exceed their toughness, their willpower, their defense, right? Put the character card into its player's discard pile. So here we go. They have an example right here. Stays in play. So this Captain Hook card right here has a 3 attack and a 4 defense, whereas this Donald Duck card has a 2 attack and a 3 defense. So the 2 attack hits the 4 defense, so he's still got half his life, but this 3 attack hits 3 defense, and that KOs or knocks out the Donald Duck. That's pretty basic. Okay, so the game seems very easy, just so y'all know. The game seems very easy to pick up. The real question is, will the game be worth playing? What kind of competition will there be, right? That's about it. I'm going to zoom out on this. Okay, zoom all the way out. Okay, and then I just want to look at a website real quick, Star City Games. Eventually, I am going to do a review of what they have listed to start off. So they got 9 green cards, 9 red cards or something, quite a bit of amethyst and quite a bit of the others as well. And I'm going to go over each one of these in their own spoiler videos. Just for some extra content, just for stuff to do and just to check it out and just talk about the cards. So we will go over these eventually. I have not found any place online where they have just set spoilers like they have in typical card games. But I don't know why that is. I don't know if it has to do with... I don't even know. So it looks like this card is foil, by the way. It looks like this is like a hollow or like a holographic card, which that's really cool. Very cool. Okay, there's Timon. Tastes like chicken. That's cool. Yeah, these abilities are going to be really interesting to look at. And from what I understand, you see this little symbol in the corner or in the side of the card. Looks like a upside down kite or something, like a diamond almost. These are lore counters. And apparently, if you have a character in play and they've been in play for 1 turn where they can do effects, this character, well, I should say when they can exert or tap or challenge and things like that, this character could turn sideways and gain 1 lore counter, right? See, some cards have multiple, like look at this card. This card costs 5 ink and it taps for 3 lore counters. And, you'll see a lot of these have really interesting effects. And that should be interesting. That should be interesting to look at because you're no longer attacking your opponent. You're just trying to beat them in a race to 20, right? So that's interesting to me personally. But we will look into it. Like I said, I'm just kind of scrolling through these cards right now. I'm going to have each one. I'm going to try and find the best way to do a spoiler video for the cards that are revealed. And, that's something I have to think about how I want to do that. It looks like a lot of these cards do have the inkwell symbol, by the way, so it looks like that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Very cool looking card here. I think it looks like it's holographic or something. Very cool looking. What else they got? Yeah, see, a lot of these have the inkwell. Then there's just a few that don't, like this Captain Hook card. Excuse me. This Fire the Actions. It looks like a lot of the actions won't have the inkwell. Maybe that's what it is. Let me see. Well, no, this one. This song has an inkwell. And this Maleficent doesn't. So, okay, so maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just totally random, or they do it based on power or balance. So, very cool. Very cool stuff going on here. I can't wait to see how it shapes up and to see if it does shape up and, ship out, because there is some kind of legal dispute going on right now between Ravensburger, an ex-employee, and Upper Deck. But I'm not going to really comment on that right now. I want to wait for that to fully unfold. But there's some, interesting stuff going on there. If you want to look more into that, look up Upper Deck versus Ravensburger right now and just see what's going on. So, but yeah, the game looks pretty cool. Here's just two other websites I wanted to mention. Let me scroll to the top of this one. There's Lorcana Player, mousetcg.com. They got a small list of it, but I think the best one so far is what Star City Games has in Lorcana Player. So yeah, guys, that's that's that, right? This game looks really interesting to me. I'm not going to lie. It's something I want to play around with and mess with, but I need to see the price point. That's going to be a big factor for me, because all of my funds and all of my resources are going into One Piece, right? You can only have so many hobbies you can pay for at a time. Or I don't know, maybe it depends on people's bank accounts. But for me, I can only really afford to play 1 or 2 card games at a time. 3 maybe, but that is pushing it. I'd have to kind of deal with budget decks for some of these. But we'll see. The more accessible cards are, the cheaper you'll be able to get them on like eBay or on tcgplayer.com and websites like that, right? So if millions and millions of these Lorcana cards go out, then it'll probably be very easy to get the ones you need right away, But we'll see. Like I said, what else? Excuse me. The other excuse me. The other card game I'm looking at exploring into and doing some content on is actually Flesh and Blood. So that might be a future video coming up here. But I do want to do more stuff like this where we explore other games, even if it's just to talk about them, even just to talk about it. But tell me what you guys thought in the comments below. If you like this kind of content, or if you're like, no, just stick to One Piece or whatever. Just tell me what you think. Leave a comment below, a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed it. And thanks for listening, guys, if you made it this far. And until next time, peace.